Hello and welcome to Yolanda's Cakes. Today I will be making 5 petal flowers like the ones you see here. At the end of this video I will leave a list of materials that I will be using to make these flowers. You can find the recipe on how to make this gum paste in the information window of this video. You will love this gum paste. This is a recipe by Nicholas Lodge, a great sugar artist and a cake designer. I will cut a piece of the paste which has been refrigerated and I taken out of the fridge to room temperature for about an hour or so. Always be sure to rest your gum paste for an hour or so before using it. You should keep your gum paste always in a plastic bag, well sealed to avoid dryness. I will be using this plastic cup and plate to cover the paste when not in use. You may keep it under a plastic bag as well, whatever you have at hand. I will condition the gum paste now. If you find the paste to be too soft, you may add a little powdered sugar. If the paste sticks to your fingers, you may use a small amount of vegetable shortening. Rub the shortening in the palm of your hand and start working the paste. Right away, you will see how the texture of the paste changes. It should be soft, elastic, and pliable. This is an excellent piece of gum paste. I will set it aside to talk a little bit about how we are going to do the process. As you can see, these are wired flowers. I'm using a 24 gauge wire. I will cut it into 3 pieces since I don't want my wires to be too long. I will use a set of pliers to make a hook at one end of the wire. Then I squeeze the hook a little since these flowers are very small and I don't want the hook to be sticking out. The wire should look something like this. I'll set it aside for now. Here we have different cutters and a plunger. You may use a plunger since it is a little easier to pop out the flower after cutting it, but you may use a regular cutter too, whatever you have with you. Now let's talk about the Florist tape. I usually buy white ribbons, like this one here. When making small flowers, I like to cut the ribbon into 2. I could use a pair of scissors, but I found this gadget in Amazon and it works great. You can cut the ribbon into 3 pieces, but 3 will be too tiny, too narrow for me. So I'm gonna cut it into 2 pieces. All you do is thread the ribbon through the device and pull. Once you are done cutting the amount of ribbon you may pull the ribbon out. You then cut your desired length. I suggest you keep these ribbons in a plastic bag to keep them fresh. Before you use the ribbon, be sure to stretch it in order to activate the glue. And now let's get started making our 5 petal flowers. But before we do that, I have one more thing to show you, which is a cell board for gum paste. I am going to use this to design the flowers. The board has 5 grooves and 3 holes. We are not going to be using the grooves, but one of the holes to design the flowers. So let's get started. Take the gum paste and massage it a little. If need, you may powder the board a little with sugar first. I make a small point at the end of the ball and place it over the hole that I've chosen, taking in consideration the size of the flower that I want to create. When flattening the gum paste, don't press too hard, as you don't want it completely flat, but you want it a little bit thick. I take either a rolling pin, a fondant smoother, or anything that I can use to flatten the ball with. In this case, I will use the lid of the small container to flatten the ball. When I'm done, I end up with a tiny Mexican sombrero. Now, I take either a plunger or a flower cutter and cut through. And I have just cut my flower. I will cut another flower, only this time I am going to use a flower cutter, but the process is the same. Watch. I'm using a small brush to push out the flower. This is why I like to use a plunger better, so the plunger will push out the flower. To form the flower, I will be using a PME Mexican and sugar flower foam pad. I will insert the back of the flower, which is the sepal or sepal, whichever way you pronounce it, in a hole of the same size that I used with the cell board. Once I place the flower in place, Using a ball tool, I will very lightly soften the edges of the flower. Next, I cup each petal carefully and gently. And lastly, I will also cup the middle. Gently using a palette knife, I remove the flower from the board. Now, I dip the wire in the edible glue, shake off the excess, and insert it in the back of the flower, being sure to pinch the gum paste to the wire so that the paste adheres to the wire. Then let it dry for about 10 to 20 minutes. I will repeat the process again one more time. Now let's make the center of the flowers. Using the foam board, break off a small piece of gum paste. The ball should be smaller than the size of the hole previously used. Soften the ball in the palm of your hands and then gently flatten the surface. Do not press too hard. Using edible glue, attach it to the top of the flower. Let it sit for a minute or two, but don't let it dry. Then, using a star tip, in this case I'm using, I believe, tip number 18, press down to make tiny holes. It might be a little hard to see the tiny holes now as the paste is white, but once we color it, you will notice them. I will do the same with the rest of the flowers. So here I have the petal dust that I will be using to color the flowers. In this case, I will be using the yellow for the center and the green for the sepal. Don't contaminate your colors working directly from the jar. Separate a little bit of the petal dust and place it on a napkin and work from there. Use soft brushes. One brush for each color. Load up your brush and then on the napkin shake off the excess. Color until you are satisfied with the way the flowers look. You may use brighter or lighter colors if you wish. I will finish the rest of the flowers and I will come back when done. And now we've come to the fun part, which is putting the flowers together and wrapping the wires. First, visualize how you want your bouquet to look, even before you start wrapping the wires. Ask yourself how many flowers you will be using. Will I have enough flowers. How tall I want the bouquet to be. Did I make extra flowers in case of breakage, etc. Once you answer most of those questions, using a pair of pliers, start arranging the flowers. You don't want to place them at the same level. You would want to place one flower higher than the other for a more natural look. If there is a breakage, hopefully you made extras and just replace the broken flower with a new one and continue to wrap the wires. To start, stretch your ribbon. Remember, when you do this, you actually activate the glue in it. Start wrapping below the flowers where it's comfortable to move your fingers. Wrap, wrap, wrap tightly. Then, with a little pressure, move the ribbon up the wire to touch the bottom of the sepal. And then you start wrapping down the wire again, only stopping at the point where you want your next flower to be joined. Wrap downward and stop again where you will be placing the next flower, and so forth until you reach the end of the wire. Repeat the process when making other bouquets. It is very important that you use a pair of pliers. They will help you a great deal. You will be able to manipulate the flowers using the pliers and turning it from one side to the other until your bouquet looks the way you want it to look. I will continue making more small bouquets of these flowers. I will speed up the process to save time. And this is the reason why you always need to make extra flowers or leaves. Whatever you are making, you always make extra because you do not know when something is going to break, like it just happened here with this flower. But not to fear, I always make extra. Now that I finished making separate bouquets, I will put them all together. I will combine them all together to make an even bigger arrangement. And to wrap all the bouquets together, I'm going to use the ribbon as it is. I'm not going to cut it, but I'm going to use the ribbon, the white ribbon, to tie or to wrap everything together. And again, using your pliers to move the flowers. Don't do this with your fingers because you might break them. So always use your pliers. Here I have other bouquets that I made previously. Remember, you can use these to decorate your cakes, to decorate your cupcakes, for any desserts. You can use this even to make small centerpieces. When you have a party and you want to make a small centerpiece out of sugar flowers, you may do a whole bunch of these flowers and make your centerpieces. It is all up to you what is that you want to do with them. Also, when placing them in your cakes, do not place them directly, as the wires are wrapped with Florist tape. You do not want to contaminate your cake. So you get yourself some bubble straw, you insert them into your cake, and then you insert the flower in the bubble straw. Well, this has been all for today. I hope that you learned something. I thank you for watching this video. I hope that you had fun as much as I did. And as always, keep the peace with everyone so long as it is possible for you. Thank you so much. May the Lord continue to bless you. And we'll see you next time here in Yolanda's Cakes. Bye-bye for now.